Peace, y'all, and welcome to Gather and Heal, the podcast. My name is Vanessa Suhey, and I am your holistic host. Basically, we're going to have lots of combos. Sometimes it'll be just me, and sometimes we'll have some guests. No matter what the topic is, though, I'm going to make sure that it connects right back to your emotional wellness and healing journey. Peace, y'all, and welcome back to season 2 of Gather and Heal, the podcast. Listen, the energy around season 2 has already got me so excited because the conversations that are coming our way, the way that we can expand our definitions of healing and how we do so, and the ways that we're connecting, the realization that our mental health is connected to everything that we do, and everything we do is connected to our mental health is just going to continue to be amplified in our conversations, right? Because our self-awareness is key, and that's how we get things started. But we don't do it all by ourselves. We do it in community. So that's why it's not just me talking at you on this podcast. I have guests, and I bring in dope people and these dope spirits that we just managed to find each other. I'm still in awe at how I've come across so many dope people just in having these conversations. But nonetheless, I'm super excited. I've got yet another dope person here to join and to have layers of conversation. My brain's already going like, what questions can I ask? But without further ado, welcome, Marica. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Yes, I am Marica, a free, courageous, authentic woman, and I ignite the fire within Black women from all 4 corners of the earth to embody their most spicy, sensual, and sacred life. And I do that through orgasmic breathing exercises, immersive group experiences, and retreats. Yes. And I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, I know I'm not the only one listening and doing this that's going to have lots of questions. So let's jump in, because I like to keep these relatively short and sweet, about 30, 45 minutes, bite size. But let's start. How did you land in this space to do all the things that you do and be who you are in the world? Tell us about your journey.
Oh, this is a fun one. I'm trying to figure out where in the journey I would like to begin. I was a goody 2 shoes. I was good and doing all the right things that my parents told me to do. So I went to school, got great grades, right? The right things. Got great grades, got a degree in accounting, went to work for one of the big 4 accounting firms as an auditor. I was making money. I was living my little life and traveling and all that other kind of stuff. And I worked my way up to VP of finance at this company called Tough Mudder. And it was a great experience. I learned a lot, right? And I was able to do that by the age of like 33. I was somebody's VP. And I was like, I still feel like a child inside, right? So I'm like, somebody let me be their VP.
Who put me in charge?
Put me in charge, right? But I was the only Black woman in the room, only Black person in the room. And it became to be a lot. It also was like, it was working me to the point where I only was working to make money because I didn't have enough time to do the things that I enjoyed, right? And so it was like one day I just decided to use some of the company's money to go to a conference. And at this conference, I was so inspired by one of the women. I asked to speak with her afterwards, and because I was interested in her job. I was like, I'm finding a new job. And she was like, I went to meet with her and we talked for a second, and she was like, close your eyes. What does your ideal job or life look like? And I shared with her that I wanted this boutique and event space and with a big old poodle in the front and all this other kind of stuff, right? And then I described it to her. And then she told me to close my eyes again and describe to her job, which was like chief diversity officer. And I was like stumbling, trying to figure it out. She was like, you know exactly what to do. Why don't you do it? And I was like, okay. And after that meeting, I went home and I was like, it was around June. I said by January of 2020, I will be leaving my job. So I started saving money, coming into work early. I created my LLC. I did all of the things, right? And by December, I was starting to renege on my agreement that I made with myself. And that's when everything just blew up with the business, where we were forced into bankruptcy. We were all let go of our job and everything. So the universe was like, well, if you had said that you wasn't going to go, you actually going to go right now.
We're going to help you. Out you go.
Yes. And so I decided to start my business full time during the pandemic, which is called the Purple Kitty. And it was more around, it has morphed into many things until what it is today, but it was originally a community event space that I wanted to bring folks together who had different gifts and talents and offerings, as well as just, gathering Black folks in one space to just connect, right? I did that from Albany, New York. I was living in Brooklyn, but I moved to Albany because I was in a relationship that I love the person, still love him to this day, just didn't work out. And I decided to stay in Albany and work on my business, work on myself, even though we had broken up. Love him, but I was like, my name is on the lease too. You go ahead and go, and I'm gonna stay here. Because I was the common denominator, right? I was the common denominator in all of my relationship patterns that ended this same kind of way. So I had to stay put and not run back to Brooklyn, where I was, coming from, and work on myself. And that's what I did. So that's a long-winded way to say I am here now supporting other women because, one, I have done the work, and two, I love to do the work in community with others.
Yes. And that's the way we got to do it, right? Like, even as I was starting in the intro, there's only so much that we can do by ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. And even if I start a lot of my internal work, I still need, I usually say the homies, I need the homies to come through and support me and me support them. Right.
Absolutely.
Like, this is how we do it together. And this is how it gets amplified and continues throughout our future generations too. Right.
Yeah.
So it's not selfish to drop down and be present and take care of you.
Yeah.
Then turn outward, bring in the homies, bring in the community.
Yeah.
And it's ripple effect into the future. It's like that literally is my favorite part of all of this.
Yes, absolutely. Oh God, you summed it up so well.
All right, we're done. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's really important. And as I'm learning, I am sharing. And also I am aligning myself with other people who are also learning and wanting to share, right? And we get to kind of practice together because we could do all the internal work that you want to do, but you still have to interact with people. So when you're like, oh, I worked on that one trigger, let's go outside and see. Let's see how that
test it. Let's test it. How did it really go?
Yeah.
Right? And then know that you can come back into a particular space and be held, right? In whatever way that is that you need to be held to work through it, because there's layers and there's steps to it.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's what led me to create this one mastermind program that I just launched on Tuesday. Super excited. Super excited. Still open for people to come through if this feels good to you. But it's called Free Living for Black Women. And we use the 7 spiritual laws of success. I don't know if you're aware of that book by Deepak Chopra. It is so freaking good. I actually took a day of silence one day and listened to it because it only takes an hour to read. And then I bought it. I wrote all up and through it because I read it again. I donated it to a friend. I gifted it to a friend and bought another copy because it has really supported me in understanding that success is not only financial abundance, right? It is abundance in relationships, abundance in health, abundance in mental capacity, and how we just everything that we take in. So that is one part of the mastermind, but it is an 8-week mastermind called Free Living for Black Women, as I said, and it's helping you to redesign That's my puppy dog.
Oh, we love puppies.
Relax, Pooh. Sorry. It's to help Black women to design and redefine what it means to live their most sensual life, right? Just because we have the abundance in these things, we also get to have pleasure as we're doing it. So, for example, when I go to eat my breakfast in the morning, I don't look at my phone. I'm not talking to nobody. I make my food. I sit down and I eat my food. And I enjoy it, and I thank it for nourishing my body, right? So just talking about different things like that and practicing what we have learned in a container, right? So we do that, and I call it a mastermind, not because group coaching is not. It's not a thing for me, right?
I know.
Group coaching is not a thing for me. I don't need to stand in front of a room and tell you how you should live your life. I get to stand in front of the room to support you as you as I provide these tools to you. So we do some breath work. We talk about different rituals. We expand on each one of the laws of success. And we also allow each person to, if you're coaching, if you have something to share that could be of support to your sister, then you get to share that too.
Yes,
it's not only about me talking, right? And so that is a safe container, one, so that you can learn how to use your voice with other Black women, because we have these different stigmas around what it means to be in relationship with other Black women. And it's also an opportunity to grab some new tools that you have had access to before. And then form connection, because we need each other. I don't care if anybody who says they're independent and they don't need anybody. Where did you buy your clothes? Where did you buy your food? You needed the grocery store. You needed the farmer to get it. Like, none of us are independent of each other. So it is an opportunity to learn and grow in community with each other and add a little pleasure to it, because we get to.
Why not?
We get to. That's the end of the story. Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
I love how you shared the piece around, like, if you have something that you want to share with the group or share with your sister because this can help them, if it's helped you. It makes me think about an interview that I did a few months ago, and she said something that really resonated with me that I think you'll like too.
Yes.
It's, your journey may be the blueprint to someone else's healing.
Ooh.
And then I added on, that's why we're a collective.
Absolutely. Right? Do you see how this sun just came out?
Woo! And I got chills.
Did you see that?
Look it.
Do you mind repeating that?
Absolutely. Your journey may be the blueprint to someone else's healing. That's why we're a collective.
Absolutely. So share your stories. Share your experiences. Ask the questions. Like, why are we holding back? And this is an opportunity to live your loudest self. There's so many times when we are suppressing our voice. That's why I love breath work, right? We're suffocating ourselves by not breathing fully. So anyone who is listening to this, just drop down and just see how is your breathing right now? How is your breath? Is it stuck in your chest? Is it stuck in your throat? Like, are you not breathing at all? And just drop down into your belly and take a deep breath. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, my goodness, it's an opportunity for us to just be together and check in with ourselves and be checked by each other, right? Because we get to, if we want to, this idea of iron sharpens iron, right? We get to share with each other in love.
Yes.
You might want to consider XYZ.
Right. There's some more options.
There's more options.
There are other opportunities. Right. And I'm not serving anyone by keeping them all to myself. Not helpful.
Girl, that is the gatekeeping to me that I don't understand, right? I'm over here scrolling through Instagram one day, right? Probably should have been doing something else, or could have been doing something else, not should. And I scroll and I see this beautiful chocolatey Black girl, and I was like, oh, she's so pretty. So I go to click on it, and I hear it's like a video, and it's like, I heard you like to gatekeep. Don't do that.
Mm.
And then it just stopped.
That's
And
it. That's the message.
Girl, it was a picture. I went back to it. I was like, I know this was a video. I know this was a video. But every time I went back to it, I refreshed my screen. It was just a picture of her.
Mm.
And I'm like, thank you, universe, for that message. Because wow. It was like, share what you got. Stop hiding. Share what you got.
Yeah.
It's here to bless someone else. And
Right.
yeah.
And if you don't know who is meant to hear the message or who is meant to, connect with you or why you've connected with somebody, that's okay. We don't need to figure all of that out. Yeah. Just share it. Just be and just connect.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
So we came together because you said, yeah, I'm down. Let's have a conversation on the podcast. I'm like, word.
Yeah.
And then I get trickles of you, right? Like when you sign up and your pictures, and then we're here. And I'm like,
yeah.
Home, comfort, connection, right? Like all of those things are so important. I don't need to figure out the why. I don't even need to know exactly how we connected and how you stumbled across my request.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. Now I see, now I understand.
Yeah.
Why we were meant to connect, right? Absolutely. Like the permission that you've given yourself, and I'm sure that you've given to many other women, that says, live your daily life outrageous.
Yeah.
Right? And oh my goodness, I love that so much. Outrageous, right? Like that word in and of itself just speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about your journey from New York to NOLA and how that ties into
being outrageous.
Yes.
It was very outrageous. And I just want to thank the sun for coming through, because it has been a gloomy day until we started this conversation. So thank you, sun.
Thank you, sun.
Yeah. So my journey from Albany to New Orleans is definitely outrageous. I came to New Orleans for my first time back in August around my birthday. I was taking a personal development program, and it was like a virtual thing over the weekend, but I didn't want to sit in the house in Albany. So I was like, where can I go? A friend of mine has a house in New Orleans. I came here and I was like, this place is magical. It's giving Caribbean, it's giving warm weather, beautiful fruits just in people's yards. And I was like, I think I might want to live here. And so I extended my stay twice.
Message.
I extended my stay twice, and I went back home to Albany, and I was like, I think I'm going to move. So my lease was up September 30th. I sold everything. I put a pause on my business, right? Because I just knew that it was time to move. And I was taking the time to reflect, to release, and to learn. And yeah, that it was from September 1st to September 30th. I was just in it, selling everything, and connecting to myself what I needed to let go of. And I embarked on my trip October 1st. And I was intentional about stopping in a few cities. So I stopped in Brooklyn, of course. I stopped in DC and Philly, Virginia, North Carolina, and Atlanta before I made it here. I was blessed to have a friend that flew in from San Diego. When I told her that I was taking the road trip, she was like, do you want me to ride with you? And
yes, friend.
I do.
Yes, I love that.
Because at first I thought I had to do it by myself, and was like, oh, I'll just break this up so I can, do it alone. And she was like, no, I'll ride with you. So she flew in from San Diego. That was the first time we met in real life. Okay. We have known each other. Yeah.
Oh, that's so dope.
It's outrageous. It is. We had known each other virtually for almost a year, but she flew in, we met each other the day before, and we embarked on this journey. It took us about 18 days to get here. And I stopped exactly where I needed to stop. I was connected with people. I was supported by my friends and family. Even when the weather wasn't good or what have you, like it still felt like this is the right thing to be doing. And so
Wait, quick question for you.
Yeah.
How did you know? Right? Because I think a big piece of the work that I do with women is helping them recognize like that connection between our mind and our thoughts and what's happening up here, but also recognizing the messages that our bodies are giving us.
Yeah.
So how did you know you stopped in all the right places?
Oh, how did I know? So before I left, I set an intention to celebrate all the way. Like, I think it was like manifestation through celebration or something like that. And each place I stopped, there was like a little nugget of the right thing to be doing. I am so proud of you. I am inspired by you. Just hearing the words of affirmation as I was stopping. And there were certain places that I had set out to stop, but it just didn't feel right to connect with those people or to take any extra action to make sure I connected with them. And yeah, it was definitely an inside of my body thing. I don't know if people are into human design, but I am a manifesting generator and I have sacred authority. And when my body says yes, then I go with the yes. Right. And so, yes, and I realized this year alone that affirming words of affirmation really are where I'm at right now. Previously, I could care less if somebody told me like, you're doing a great job or what have you. But along this journey, I just kept hearing like, this is great. I am so proud. I can't believe you're doing that. I am inspired by you. Keep going. And I knew it was the right places to stop. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. I love that. Yeah. Right. Because you're also talking about how your community, your homies came through and encouraged you and, you know, validated and continue to give you that permission.
Yeah.
Do this.
Yeah.
You are doing it. Keep doing it.
Yes.
Right? Was there any pushback from anyone or like questions of what are you doing?
Of course there was. Of course. So I had, right before I left Albany, I met with a woman who currently resides here in New Orleans, and I follow her. Her name is LaVon Briggs. She's amazing, right? And she asked me, what does Marissa have to release in order to be the Marissa with the New Orleans address? And so there was I was writing like tangible things that I needed to release. Like certain relationships had to end. And even if I did not initiate that, they did. Right? Just out of their pure like disagreement for me not wanting me to go. And I understand that some of it is love and fear and a whole bunch of other things mixed in that have nothing to do with me, right? But I specifically got some pushback from my father, and we had some really big conversations. We had some really big conversations to where I was definitely done being that good girl trying to appease my father, telling him how I feel. And any resentments or anything that I was holding had to be let go. So I shared with him, like, I understand that you have nervousness or fears around me leaving, right? I really believe that this is something that I get to do, right? And I'm no longer out here trying to prove myself to you or anyone else. And that was hard. I was definitely had to lean on my community after that, like tears and heavy breath. And it was just like a lot.
All the things.
It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. And I realized I was holding a lot from just our relationship. And I love my father. I understand. And also I get to continue with the mission that my body, my mind, the universe, God, whoever you believe in, has shared for me to do. And it was definitely to move down here. So yeah, there was a lot of pushback from my family specifically. And I know because they're fearful, right, of what might happen, all these ideas of what New Orleans is that people have no idea, who've never been here, right, or just have heard it on TV or the radio or wherever. It's actually been a real blessing here. Yeah.
I believe it. And that's so beautiful. And I want to reiterate just how proud I am of you. of being able to take that space and release what needed to be released in the conversation with your father. Yeah. That is so powerful, right? Because when I have a lot of conversations with people, they're like, yeah, I would like to do this, but, and then there's a whole list of family and friends that are saying no for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I love how you, instead of saying, but, you sat and you heard.
Yeah.
And then you said, and I'm still going to do what I'm being called to do. This is what I need.
Absolutely. You know, I just want to mention there's one thing, just in case it could help someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Him and I had a really big blow up to where I was just like, I can't talk to you anymore. And who knows, that may not be forever. And I understand that, right? But in this moment, I can't talk to you right now. And as I was driving down from Albany to like the city area of New York, my father lives in Queens. And I was like, I told him I don't want to talk to him, but I still need to go tell him that I love him and give him a hug before I leave. Because who knows what may happen, right? So if that can be of support to someone, just because you're upset with them, just because things are not working out with them, or you have a disagreement or whatever, still make sure that they understand that you love them. Way.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And not easy.
Ooh, girl.
Right? Like this, I heard that piece of the message that wasn't completely said, but like I feel it, and I know that that's not easy.
Yeah,
it's not to be in a space where you're like, I know I can't talk to you right now, and again, and
I
love you dearly, and I want you to know how much I love you.
Absolutely.
And that, in your ability to be in both of those spaces of like, I can't talk to you, and I'm going to tell you that I love you.
Yeah. It was thank you for acknowledging that, because when I walked up to that door, my little heart was beating, and I was like, you're gonna do this, right? And I did it, and then I felt like, okay, I can go, right? Because there's no regrets here. We're not doing that.
Right.
So
right. So that question that your friend asked you about what do you need to release, part of it too was who needs to release you.
Ooh.
Right?
Excuse me. Yes.
Something that I'm getting in that moment, in that conversation that you had with your father, says, I love you.
Yeah.
And he did his piece of release.
Yeah. Wow.
And then you carried on. Yeah.
I didn't even think about it that way.
I love that so much. Because it's not just you, right? We're talking about community. We're talking about our homies, everybody that's around us. And yes, there's work for me and there's work for you. And this is how our work together impacts one another. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Talk to us.
Yes.
How does the conversation of pleasure and sensuality come into your daily life and in your work?
Yeah. In my daily life, pleasure comes with listening to my body. And specifically when it's like, you need to move a little bit. And so if I need to, like, while I'm talking to you, if I'm doing all this extra stuff, it's because that's what feels good to me.
I love it.
You know, or like I mentioned earlier, when it's time to eat, my breakfast, I set time aside. Or in the mornings, I do not answer the phone. I do not interact with anyone. I do not have, take anything in from outside the world before I get myself together. So before 9 o'clock, you can hit me up if you want, but I'm not going to see it and I'm not going to respond to it. Right?
Oh, I love that. And I bet you there's so many people who are going to be listening like, what? I check my phone before I get out of bed.
Absolutely. No.
So what does it do for you? What's the shift been that you felt since you started that practice?
Yeah. So I know I'm not perfect at it. So sometimes I do make that, let me see what the weather's hitting for. And then I see a text and then I want to see, go into
old distracted.
And it distracts, it actually cuts off my connection with self before getting my day started. So it may bring up all types of emotions and things that did not even exist before I got a chance to sit with myself, right? And so it really, it gives it like powers my battery before getting out of bed. Right. And so it is, I write, free writing, what is coming up for me. Some days I'd be feeling stank, so I'm just like, right.
Yep, I can feel that.
Yes, some days I'm grateful. Sometimes it's a reflection or what have you, but I write. I will read a little excerpt from whatever book that I may be playing with at the moment. And then I will, since I moved down here, I got a dog. So I listen to meditative music as I walk. Right. And it's a beautiful way to get the day started. And maybe all of those things are not accessible to everyone first thing. Right. But at the very least, a couple of breathing exercises before you get out of the bed, stretching your body, thanking your body for waking up, right? Something to check in with you before you make yourself available to the world. Is pleasurable to me. And another thing that I love to do is when I take a shower at night, put a little perfume on, because you could be sexy before bed. Okay,
me too. Yes.
Light a candle, right? Yes. You can make it a sexy experience, right? Even when you're eating, if you want to put on lingerie before dinner, do that. Sit at your table.
Yes.
And eat, right? So it is just doing the little things. Or if I want to go outside right now, then I'll go. It's really that simple, right? There's not, I got to consider everybody else's whatever they got going on or how they're going to feel about me taking a break in the middle of my workday to go for a walk, right? Or
that's their shit. Let them figure that out.
Right. Or get my favorite meal or take a little nap because I am just exhausted. And once I finish taking that nap, I'm gonna be up and ready to go for the people. My favorite nap time is 2:00 in the afternoon, right? Because if I wake up at 2:30, 3, or what have you, like I'm an Energizer bunny after that, right? So just doing what feels best for me in the moment, what pleasure is for me.
I love that. Because you're talking about different ways that, again, this theme of permission keeps coming up, like the permission to take your time and prioritize you.
Yes.
First thing in the morning.
Yes.
Take your time and rest your body if she's telling you, I need a nap.
Yeah.
Right? We ain't gonna make it through the rest of the day unless we take this nap.
Yeah.
And it really circles back to this concept of like, you have to fill your own cup before you help others, right? Yeah. Well, you just mentioned that your morning practice helps to fuel your battery. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
You are prioritizing and taking care of self first.
Yeah.
What do I need? Where do I want to express gratitude towards? So on and so forth. And then I will invite other people into my space.
Yeah.
Right? I love that so much. The permission and the slow down, intentionality.
Yes, being from New York, of course I know how to get up and go. Okay. When I was an accountant, I would wake up just enough time to get dressed, make something to eat, and go run for the train. Okay.
Yep.
Keep the day going and just keep going and letting people stop by my desk and answering this email or going to this meeting that just got put on my calendar 2 seconds ago for 20 minutes from now. Like, and I was just going with it and then going out after work for drinks because I'm just so exhausted and I need to drink it away. Like all these other kind of things. I know how to do it. I'm not.
I don't wanna.
and just the go kind of life. Yeah, I get to feel through what feels good for me, and everybody else adjusts around you. Yeah, everybody else will adjust or not, but they are still adjusting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're centered into yourself, and that that self energy. When it aligns and it all makes just beautiful sense to you and it just feels so good in your whole system.
Yeah.
like you said, other people will adjust.
They
And if
will.
they don't want to, they will adjust over there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep doing what I need to do over here for myself. And that's
Yeah.
okay. And it is not selfish.
It is not. It is not selfish. I really find myself having more energy to connect with the people that I love or to support the people that I love because I take care of myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm paused because I caught a glimpse of loving on myself and my people.
Yes.
And that's what you were just talking about. This is how I love on myself and how in turn it's also me loving on my people.
Yeah. Yeah. I love to host. I love to cook meals for people. I love to stop by in their homes and bring gifts of love. I love to have hugs in the middle of the day. Like I have my friend actually who rode with me. We live together here in New Orleans, and sometimes it's like, friend, can I have a hug? Like, yes, you can.
Yes,
that's helping me right now as well. But I really adore. I adore people. I would just say I adore people, but specifically my people.
Yeah.
Black and brown folks.
It hits different. It's a different hug. It's a different love.
It does, right? Oh my gosh. So yeah, I just walking down the street here, that's another thing that I love about New Orleans. Everyone speaks. Everyone's like, hey, how you doing? How's your day? Right? And a lot of times people don't mind stopping to have a quick conversation. And that's something I got to get used to. But yeah, everyone is just like very open and welcoming, right? And a lot around community, a lot about community. I stopped by a juice bar yesterday and I just was like, hey, do you work here? He was like, I own the place. And I was like, great. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to bring some of my gifts to New Orleans of breathing and group conversations and different things like that. And I would love to connect with you. We sat down for maybe an hour and a half just talking about how his business came about and how it's built on community and just open to everyone gets a piece. Everybody gets a chance. Everybody gets to go. And the more that you are open to sharing who you are, the more people are open to sharing them as well. And just connecting me to other events and people and all types of stuff outside. So
that's so dope. So beautiful.
Yeah.
And the practicing of what you've been talking about, the practicing of connecting and being in community.
Yeah. It's not really as hard as we think. It is not really that hard. You come with love, then love will be returned back to you. Honestly. I mean, I sat out there for most of my day yesterday just because the love that I was receiving from the energy that I was in space. And a beautiful woman walked past and I was like, girl, you are so beautiful. What is your name? And to find out I just started following her. And I was like, oh, I follow you.
What?
What's your name? And she was like, oh, the Purple Kids. Oh, I know you. Yes. Welcome to New Orleans. And I was like, thank you, girl.
Oh my goodness. That makes my heart smile.
Yeah.
Of just like being out there.
Yeah.
Meeting people.
Yeah.
And meeting people in a way that's current, right? Because it's 2022, about to be 23. And yes, there is a huge virtual part of our world.
Yeah.
And there's still real life out there in person too.
Go outside, y'all. Go outside.
Go.
Yeah. There's beautiful people out there. There's beautiful experiences out there. You just believe that there are. Sure, there's a lot of other things going on in the world right now, but I know my daily life is beautiful. Yes. And I may not have all of the monies, and I may not have all of the things or what have you, but I do have peace, and I do have love, and I do have joy. And those things bring me every bit of dollars that I need and every bit of resources that I
Hopeful.
need. Yeah. Anything that I need, I know I can have, and I have it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I got a part that's really curious about the space that I think you used to have in New York, the studio space and this community-based type of space where people can show and host all of the great things.
Yeah.
Are you going to do something like that again? Or are you pivoting, or what's happening there?
Yes. I actually need to go to this one place, Apartment 4 Studios, here in New Orleans. I'm gonna be like, hey, I want to host some events here. So I definitely look forward to that. I actually was invited to some community discussions this tomorrow at the place I was at yesterday, Fruit Orleans.
Look at that.
And so I was like, can I hold space here? He's like, sure, of course. Right. So I definitely will be doing that. I also have incorporated doing some VIP days for folks who either want to fly into New Orleans or who are already here to really have a day of you. So especially for like entrepreneurs, women who own businesses or who are in high-powered positions, who don't take a moment for themselves, or who sacrifice themselves mentally, emotionally, physically. Let's just say it, because you're like, everything that's going on in here definitely manifests in your body.
Yes.
And they need a day to be taken care of and spoken back into and loved on. So I do have VIP days where they can come to this space here, and we do some breathing, we do some sacred baths, we do some other rituals that may be tailored to whatever it is that you are in need of. And that definitely starts next week. So definitely hit me up, okay? If you need to be, taken care of. And it does tap into our sensual selves, right? Getting like rubbed down or moisturized by another human being that has nothing to do with sex. It has all to do with being pleasured or being taken care of, or understanding that you are royalty and you get to experience this kind of from someone who cares and who loves and who knows what it feels like not to have it and what it feels like to live in it. So yes, I would love to take care of you. Okay.
Love that.
For a day. And
that's dope.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely drop all of these goodies and all of the links for people to connect with you in the show notes. We're going to wrap up in a few minutes, but I do want to just say too, and I'll include this in the show notes, we had a panel discussion at some point earlier this year, and it was about pleasure and sensuality, and how do we really give permission to like broaden those definitions. Right. Whether it be in an intimate sexual manner, broadening those definitions, but then also what is it just for you? Right. And what are the other ways that we lean into pleasure? And so just like really starting with, I don't want to say the basics because it feels like it minimizes it, but like the foundation of how are we defining things as we're stepping into the world and as we are experiencing them. And redefining them for some people too, right? Because we've been taught and certain messages and definitions have been ingrained in us. It's like, no, that doesn't serve me. That's not how I define this. This is how I define it. Being good with that.
For me, pleasure is appealing to the senses. Whatever way feels good. So I like scents. I like my diffuse, my incense. I like those things, right? I also like to listen to certain types of music. Sometimes it's a little, it may be a little raunchy, it may be a little, frequency. Like it depends, whatever is feeding my sense of sound, right? Or it may be some affirming words, or whatever. Or if it is like moistening, moisturizing my body, right? Just taking the time to love on me by touch, right? And you don't need anybody else. but you can. That's cute too, right?
Mm-hmm. But that's like, I define those as kind of like, that's a bonus. And I can do it first. I can do it myself.
Yeah.
And if somebody want to rub the lotion on my back, have at it. But
Thank
I can do
you.
it too, and it feels good just as great.
Absolutely. Or standing in the shower. I just cut my hair, right? And it's because that was the last bit of release I needed to make. But just standing in the shower and letting it hit my scalp, I love it. Okay. I love it. And that's a pleasure, right? So just dig deep into what makes, you don't really have to dig that deep. What feels good to you, and keep doing that. Don't cap it. Don't stop it just because it feels too good, or if you're not used to this feeling, or this is not something that you feel like you should be having on a regular basis. No, that word should gets to go.
Throw that shit out the window. I have a real window here, and I'm always like, throw that shit out the window. just get it out. Like it's not, it doesn't serve us.
Right.
And I love the highlights of the simple and mindful things that you do at both the beginning and the end of your day.
Yeah.
Right. And so I say that to highlight, because when people talk about routines, they think it's got to be like this big mapped out, takes me an hour and so on and so forth. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Just break it all the way down.
Yeah.
Right. It's the shower. It's the presence of feeling the water on your body. It's the putting the lotion and moisturizer all over and taking your time with it. Right. Yeah. And then putting on your jammies, or putting on your lingerie, or shit, going to bed naked, whatever floats your boat.
Thank you.
Have at it. Yeah. And just, get your perfume on, because I love that.
Right. Yeah. It just feels good. And it feels good to feel good. That is my motto.
That's it. It feels good to feel good.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that so much. Marissa, we covered a whole lot of ground.
Yeah.
And I just want to double check. Is there anything that we missed, or anything that you would like to share?
I don't think there's anything that we've missed. I think this was a beautiful discussion. I'm so happy that it happened. It definitely brought the sun out. I'm still going to acknowledge her. And also just thinking about, like, spirituality and ritual does not have to be rigid. You can incorporate this into your life, and it can be pleasurable. There's many intersections in our lives, and we don't have to compartmentalize all of the things. Everything gets to go together. So I just thank you for creating this space for me to share about it. It is one of the places that I get to stretch in and get to be more outrageous in how I share what it is that I do and who it is that I am. That is not like going on Instagram and doing like a little dance and stuff, because that's not me. That is not me. And it's okay if that is someone else, right? That is okay. But I like having just conversation and connection, and that's how it authentically just comes out, who I am, what it is that I offer, and how I can be of support to people.
Love that. And what I'm hearing too, and I want to reemphasize for a lot of people, is that just because so many people are doing something and it's working for them doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong if it doesn't work for you, or that you have to do it and force yourself into that space.
Yes.
If you don't want to, if it doesn't speak to you. Yes. Because when you lean into what authentically works for you, for example, you were talking about conversations.
Yeah.
Look at everything that just came from this conversation.
Yeah.
Right. And the ripple effects that it will have. That's because you and I are just showing up genuinely. We're having a dope ass conversation, and we're just here to spread the love, the abundance, the permission, the outrageous, all of it.
Yes. Yeah.
All of it. Without doing something we don't want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That part. Right. And giving the permission for our lives and our, what I like to do, what I don't like to do, my routine, spirituality, all of it, just let it flow.
Yeah.
Give yourself that permission to grow and change and so on. Because it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, my listeners already know, like, I could sit here and have conversations for days. It's my favorite. My clients know too. I'm like, I'm going to set this timer because if not, we're going to be here talking. And they're like, what, Vanessa? I'm like, trust me. You know it.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming through and just joining and sharing space with me virtually. But like, I can feel your energy and I love it so much already. And, you know, like I said, everything will be put right into the show notes, all the links on how you can connect with Marissa and sign up for her dope programs and mastermind, because we're not here for the group coaching side of things. I'm with you. But yes, check us out on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. Podcast is wherever you listen to your podcast. And as always, don't be greedy. Share with the homies. And I hope y'all have nothing short of a beautiful fucking day. Peace.
Absolutely.